Hi guys, it's I Do Psych, bringing you part 2 of my earthquake prediction and preparation series here. So where we left off was with the exodus of toads and stuff, and I told you that I was going to talk a little bit more about strange animal behavior and behavior from animals that could possibly give us a better indication more than anything else of when to expect the next big earthquake. And the reason I did that, as I shared with you in the last video, was that a very big warning came out that was issued today for Los Angeles as well as San Francisco to expect a likely warning, is what they called it, of a 5.5 to about a 6.6 earthquake. So taking it up from there, I have a couple more situations or incidents to share with you. Strange or not, from July 2009, just hours after a large earthquake in San Diego, local residents discovered dozens of Humboldt squid washed upon beaches. These deep-sea squid are usually found at depths between 200 to 600 meters. So going back to animals and groundwater and changes in pulse and radiation, magnetic fields, that type of thing. At 5:58 on June 28, 1992, the ground began to shake in the Mojave Desert, California, right in the middle of the scientific study on desert harvester ants. Measurements revealed the ants did not change their behavior at all during the earthquake, the largest to strike the U.S. in 4 decades. So just bringing you both sides there. So what I want to go into with you now is, let me just exit out of this one. Okay, that's on the BBC Natural News, by the way, is basically the fact that, according to National Geographic News, animals can predict earthquakes. It's been thought since for several centuries ago. In fact, in 373 BC, historians recorded that animals, including rats, snakes, and weasels, deserted the Greek city of Hellas in droves just days before the quake devastated the place. I'm sure that you all know about that story. It's been told a lot of times, so I won't go into that. But if you haven't, then it's a very fascinating portrait of our history. Accounts of similar animal anticipation of earthquakes have surfaced across centuries then. Catfish moving violently, chickens that stop laying eggs, and bees leaving their hive in panic that have been reported. Now, I really want to mention that because I have been talking to, you may have also subscribed to her channel, I'm not sure, Skydog, otherwise known as the Knowledge Vault 2. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. She's a very sharp cookie, and her and I were conversing about the fact that we've been seeing these zombie bees everywhere. Very, very strange. I'm highly and deathly allergic, so for me it's even more scary. But if we can use this also as a clue to anticipate earthquake activity, then that is helpful as well. So also, countless pet owners have claimed to have witnessed their cats and dogs acting strangely before the ground shook, barking or whining for no apparent reason. My cat's been freaking out, but he does that when he's hungry too, so who knows. But precisely what animals sense, if they feel anything at all, is a mystery. One theory is that wild and domestic creatures feel the earth vibrate before humans. That would make a lot of sense to me. I mean, if nothing else, they've got double the amount of limbs on the ground. That sounded kind of dumb, sorry. Other ideas suggest they detect electrical changes in the air or gas released from the earth. Earthquakes are sudden phenomenon. I don't really agree with that statement. I'm not a seismologist though, so but seismologists actually have no way of knowing exactly when the next one will hit. It's kind of like a tornado. Like, the conditions are present. An estimated 500,000 detectable quakes occur in the world each year. Of these, 100,000 can be felt by humans, and 100 cause damage. Let's see. So then they go on to talk about Japan and the devastation there. Of course, we are all familiar with what happened there. In the 1970s, studies on animal prediction were done by the USGS. I believe that's the United States Geological Service, but nothing concrete came out of it. Since that time, the agency has made no further investigations into the theory. I think that is ridiculous. Erratic behavior in dogs. Researchers around the world continue to pursue the idea. However, in September of '03, a medical doctor in Japan made headlines with a study that indicated erratic behavior in dogs, such as excessive barking or biting, that could be used to indicate a coming earthquake. There's also been examples where authorities have forecast successfully a major earthquake event based on observation of strange antics. And now I already clued you in on one of those with Jim Birkeland. And if you haven't watched my video, Can Animals Predict End Times? Then go back and watch that, because I give you a bit on Jim Birkeland there. Chinese officials ordered an evacuation of one of their biggest cities with 1 million people just days before a 7.3 magnitude quake. Only a small portion of the population was hurt or killed. If the city hadn't have been evacuated, it's estimated that the fatalities could have exceeded 150,000. So that's that. And as promised before, and what I want to talk about next is this cool game that I found. It is at channel1.com/news/specials/disaster. So here you can actually go, and you can go to this map on the front page. It's called a quake simulator. Okay, and what you do, it'll show the instructions here, which you can show. Ever been in an earthquake? Our quake simulator will take you inside some of the world's biggest earthquakes. Now your job is to click on the quake. For example, this one in Yucaipa, California.
Good, second and third, and we are in the midst of an earthquake here in Southern California.
Okay, so what you're supposed to do is guesstimate by the number of deaths and damage and the little snippet of footage there, and this little vignette, what was the magnitude of this quake. So I'm not going to say that it's too big, because let's see here, because it didn't sound like it was that big, so let's just say that. And then you go ahead and click submit. Hey, you got correct. Now, I did not cheat. I did not know that. I've actually waited to try this out with you guys. So let's go over here, because one of these are the big ones. I can't remember where it's at. Let's just go here. Oh, wow.
Early morning of January 17th, 1995. A quake which left the city of Kobe, Japan, population 1.5 million, devastated.
Okay, so you can see there the damage was $200 billion, and 5,000, let me move it over for you, 5,502 were actually killed. 300,000 Hays City residents were evacuated to shelters, and let's see, damages caused about 4% of Japan's gross domestic product to be affected. So I'm going to go out on a limb there and say that that was like a 7.1. Let's go submit. It's less. So it'll tell you it's less than that. Let's go 6.8. Let's try that one. Oh, it's greater. Obviously, it's 6.9. So it's kind of a fun little thing. So next thing I want to show you here is this one. And also, you can find a nice little link on a quick cover-up, too. I'm interested in seeing that. So you can choose here to do your own simulator, the type of building. Let's just say we have one that's on coastal ground. Say it's here in California. Prevention. We're going to say base isolation allows structure or foundation, and for the ground to move is 1. So number 3. By the way, that's my cat meowing in the background. Maybe he feels something. Let's see. And then you can go and let's see here. Well, my computer's stuck, but if you will actually, okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Okay. You can actually hit magnitude and then go to begin quake, and it'll give you the actual simulation of that. Okay, so moving on from there, I want to go ahead and just show you this really quick snippet before we get into part 3, which is going to cover more, earthquake preparedness, what types of predictions can you really rely on, and maybe a snippet or two more on some more fascinating animal predictions. 5-story hospital mock-up at UC San Diego earthquake simulator. Okay, so I really not enjoyed this, but I thought it was pretty cool. So they actually did this back, this published in May. I'm not sure when it was actually done, to be quite honest with you. So they are averaging a 7.9, I think. Oh no, yeah, 7.9. So here we go. Let's take a look at the building. Now in San Diego, we have a lot of rebar reinforced buildings that are California coded to comply with the earthquake building laws that we have out here. So let's see what happens.
Wow, it collapsed.
That's not good news. That's not good news. The plane crashes.
All right, let's see. Gets better, guys. So 4 shocks are coming in, and they're going to stimulate the crest of the earthquake, if you will, here in just a second. There we go. You can hear the sounds. Okay, now you can see, dependent on what foundation, cinder block or whatever, what type of intensity you're going to have. This is a 5-story building. This would be pretty dang scary in a 40-story building. Okay, yeah, so most earthquakes actually don't last that long either. And so we're going to continue on to part 3 of the series, which is more or less going to go over a couple more snippets. Like I said, we're going to talk about, hey, what do I do if I'm caught with my pants down after an earthquake? I didn't prepare. I just find myself in the middle of one or after one, and I have nothing. So what do I do? What are my first things that I go to get, etc.? So stay with me. I'll be back. And by the way, the big earthquake they predicted for today hasn't come yet. So, hey, they're not always right, huh?